Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, exhale gently through your mouth. Feel your heartbeat, feel your presence in this moment, because what I'm about to share will change the way you understand love forever. Many women love deeply, but they also suffer deeply. They confuse love with attachment, and that's where the pain begins. You think love means holding on, but true love means knowing when to let go. You think love means needing him, but real love begins when you no longer depend on him for your peace. This message is not about losing love, it's about freeing it. It's about learning how to love a man without losing yourself. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, exhale gently through your mouth. Feel the air flowing through you. Feel your presence in this moment. Leave behind everything that happened before now, the noise, the confusion, the emotions, and return to yourself, fully aware, fully calm. Today, I want to speak to you about something that many hearts struggle to understand: how to love a man without losing yourself in attachment. Part 1. Attachment is not love. It is a form of fear. Fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. When you attach yourself to a man, you give him control over your peace, and that is when suffering begins. True love is never about holding on. It is about seeing the other person as free, as complete, as someone who chooses to walk beside you, not someone you need to survive. You see, the problem is not love itself. The problem is when you mix love with dependency. You think, I cannot live without him. But the truth is you can. You always could. Because you existed before he came into your life, and you will still exist if he ever leaves. Let us understand this deeper. Attachment makes you forget who you are. It makes you shrink your world around another person. You begin to revolve your emotions, your time, your worth, all around his presence. You wait for his messages to feel wanted. You measure your happiness by his mood. You begin to believe that your peace depends on how much he loves you. But this is an illusion created by your mind, because your heart has forgotten its own power. When love turns into attachment, you stop being the source of your own happiness. You start outsourcing it to someone else. And anytime that person pulls away, you crumble inside. Because what you built was not love, it was dependency. True love does not bind you, it liberates you. It helps you grow into your highest self. True love allows space, trust, and individuality. It does not suffocate or control. When you are attached, you constantly worry, what if he leaves? What if he stops loving me? But when you truly love, you say, even if he goes, my love remains pure, because it was never about possession. You see, attachment is like holding water tightly in your fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. But when you open your palm, the water stays. Love works the same way. The more you try to control someone, the more you lose connection. Because love cannot grow in fear. It only blossoms in freedom. Many women confuse care with control. They think, if I don't hold on tightly, he will forget me. But the truth is, when you let a man breathe, when you let him move freely, he feels more drawn to you. Not because you chase him, but because you are grounded in your own presence. Detachment creates mystery, strength, and calm energy. And that energy is powerful. It draws respect. It creates harmony. Therefore, to love without attachment means to stand as your own source of peace, not to beg for it from another. It means to love deeply but never lose your center. It means to share your heart but never hand over your soul. Because when you know your own worth, you will never confuse attachment for love again. To love without attachment, you must begin by knowing yourself deeply. When you know who you are, you no longer seek validation from another person. You no longer chase affection to fill the emptiness within. Because the truth is, when you don't understand yourself, you start looking for someone else to define you. You want him to tell you you're beautiful. You want him to tell you you're worthy. You want him to tell you you're loved. But this is where love becomes fragile. because the moment he stops reminding you, you begin to doubt yourself. True love without attachment can only exist when your own cup is full, when you are not loving from emptiness, but from overflow. To love a man without attachment, you must first become emotionally independent. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't care. It means your emotions are not controlled by another person's actions. When he's happy, you don't need to lose yourself in his joy. And when he's distant, you don't lose your peace, trying to pull him closer. You remain stable, balanced, anchored in your own inner stillness. This kind of strength is magnetic. It draws love naturally because a peaceful woman creates a peaceful relationship. Knowing yourself means spending time in silence, learning your patterns, observing how your mind reacts when love enters your life. Do you start overthinking? Do you lose focus on your own goals? Do you become anxious when he doesn't respond immediately? Every reaction tells you something about yourself. If you can sit with these emotions instead of acting on them, you begin to rise above attachment. Master HENG once said, "If you don't understand yourself, you will project your wounds onto others." This is what happens when you love from fear. You begin to make someone else responsible for healing your pain. But no man can heal what you refuse to face inside. Knowing yourself means healing the parts of you that crave constant reassurance. It means facing the loneliness you run away from. It means learning to enjoy your own company, because when you do, you stop chasing love out of desperation. You begin to share love out of peace. When you truly know yourself, you don't compete for love, you attract it effortlessly. You no longer settle for attention, you seek connection. You no longer want ownership, you seek partnership. You become soft yet strong, giving yet grounded. The energy of a woman who knows herself is unshakable. She doesn't beg, she doesn't prove, she simply is. She moves with grace because she trusts life to bring what belongs to her. And that energy transforms every relationship around her. Loving without attachment is not cold, it's conscious. It's when you can say, "I love you deeply, but my happiness doesn't depend on you." It's when you can give love freely because you are not afraid of what happens next. Knowing yourself gives you emotional clarity. It allows you to see when love is real and when it's just neediness. When you love from clarity, you no longer drown in relationships. You flow through them peacefully. That is how you love a man without attachment, by knowing yourself so completely that your love becomes a choice, not a need. Mastery of love begins with inner discipline. It begins with the ability to observe your emotions without letting them control you. When he doesn't text you back, notice what happens inside. Do you feel anxious? Do you feel unworthy? Do you begin to create stories in your mind about what he must be thinking? This is where awareness becomes your greatest teacher. Attachment is born from unconscious reaction, but love is born from presence. The moment you start reacting emotionally to every small change in his behavior, you lose your inner balance. Your peace begins to depend on how another person moves. But when you bring awareness to your emotions, you begin to break this cycle. Instead of chasing, you breathe. Instead of overthinking, you observe. Instead of clinging, you return to your center. That is where real strength lives. Love is not meant to make you restless. It is meant to make you peaceful. But if your peace disappears when he walks away, it means your love has turned into attachment. You must learn to separate love from emotional dependency. Attachment says, "If he ignores me, I'll make him notice." Love says, "If he needs space, I'll give it willingly." Attachment acts from fear, but love acts from understanding. Fear demands, understanding gives space. This is the difference between pain and peace. The moment you stop reacting from fear, you begin to master the art of detached love. Detached love is not cold or distant, it is powerful. It means you can feel deeply but still remain in control of yourself. When you can stay calm in the middle of emotional storms, you have already grown beyond attachment. Master HENG teaches that emotional reactions are like waves, temporary, ever-changing. The key is not to fight the wave, but to observe it and let it pass. Your feelings are real, but they are not permanent. If you can sit in silence and let your emotions move through you without acting impulsively, you begin to see clearly. You start to understand that your emotions are not who you are. They are experiences passing through your awareness. And once you realize this, no man can control your peace again. When you master your emotions, you master your energy. When you master your energy, you master your relationships. Detachment does not mean ignoring someone. It means staying aware while loving them consciously. It means responding instead of reacting. It means allowing love to breathe instead of suffocating it. You no longer send 10 messages out of panic. You no longer argue just to get attention. You no longer beg for connection. You simply love. And if love is meant to stay, it will. If not, you still remain complete. Detachment is love purified from fear. It allows you to give without losing, to care without clinging, to stay open without becoming dependent. This is the highest form of love, to feel deeply but remain free. When you reach this level of emotional mastery, you don't chase, you attract. You don't control, you understand. You don't fear losing, you trust the flow of life. That is the power of inner discipline, the power to love a man deeply yet remain unshaken within yourself. Understand this. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means clarity. Many people misunderstand the word detachment. They think it means to stop caring, to shut down emotionally, to become distant. But that is not detachment. That is avoidance. True detachment is not about closing your heart. It's about keeping your heart open while staying rooted in awareness. You still care, you still love, you still give, but you no longer allow your emotions to control your peace. Detachment means that you love fully while remaining free inside. It means you can enjoy someone's presence without being terrified of their absence. When you reach this state, you no longer cling to people, you appreciate them, you no longer fear losing love, you trust that whatever leaves you was never meant to stay. Detachment is love with understanding. It is the ability to hold someone close without holding them hostage. To say, I love you, but I do not need to possess you. Because love is not about owning, it's about allowing. When you love with attachment, you are constantly in fear. You fear that if he doesn't love you back, you'll be broken. You fear that if he walks away, your world will end. But when you love with detachment, you know your world remains whole, because it was never built around one person. Detachment is a peaceful kind of love, a love that gives space for both to grow. When you love with detachment, you no longer demand attention or reassurance. You simply trust the flow of connection. You understand that love cannot be forced, that it must come from freedom, not pressure. It's like holding a bird in your hand. If you grip too tightly, you hurt it, but if you hold it gently, it feels safe and stays willingly. In the same way, detached love is gentle and steady. It doesn't suffocate, it allows both souls to breathe. When you love someone with awareness, you begin to see them clearly, not through the fog of expectation, but through the lens of truth. You stop trying to change them to fit your image of love, and instead, you learn to accept them as they are. That acceptance brings peace, because there is no resistance, no battle between who they are and who you want them to be. Detachment also means learning to enjoy moments without trying to make them last forever. Because everything in life is temporary. People, emotions, situations. When you try to hold on to something that's meant to change, you suffer. But when you love in awareness, you enjoy every moment fully, without needing it to last. You say, if this is here today, I will be grateful. If it leaves tomorrow, I will be peaceful. That is true freedom. Detachment makes your love lighter. It removes the heaviness of expectation and fear. You no longer look to a man to complete you. You meet him as an equal soul, walking beside you on his own journey. You can give him love, but you don't give him your identity. You can share your heart, but you don't lose your self-respect. When you practice this kind of love, you become unshakable. because your peace is no longer in his hands, it lives within you. Detachment does not end love, it purifies it. It transforms it from need to truth, from fear to freedom, from desire to deep awareness. That is the beauty of loving without attachment. You love more deeply because you no longer love from emptiness, but from wholeness. The practice of loving without attachment is a form of meditation. It is not something you master overnight. It is a daily discipline, a constant returning to your center. Every time you feel yourself becoming anxious, return to your breath. Feel it moving through you. Feel it grounding you in the present moment. Inhale peace, exhale fear. Inhale love, exhale control. When your mind begins to overthink, why didn't he call? Does he still love me? Stop, breathe, be still. Observe your thoughts without chasing them. Detachment begins the moment you stop identifying with your emotions and start witnessing them. When you practice this awareness, you learn to respond consciously instead of reacting impulsively. Love without attachment is the highest form of emotional maturity. It's when you can say, I love this person deeply, but I will not lose myself to keep them. It's when your love is guided by wisdom, not desperation. Every time you catch yourself wanting to control or cling, ask yourself, am I acting out of love or fear? Fear seeks to possess, love seeks to give. Fear holds tight, love opens freely. Fear says, I need you to make me happy. Love says, I am happy sharing this journey with you. The more aware you become of your emotional triggers, the more peaceful your love becomes. Meditation is not just sitting in silence. It's the practice of staying conscious in every emotional moment. It's when you can feel jealousy arise and still choose peace. It's when you can feel longing arise and still remain calm within yourself. Detachment teaches you that emotions are like waves. They rise, they fall, but they do not define you. When you stop being controlled by them, you begin to master love itself. This practice also means learning to be alone without feeling lonely. When you are comfortable in your solitude, you stop clinging to others for comfort. Solitude becomes your strength, your temple, your peace. It's in this stillness that you rediscover who you are outside of relationships. You reconnect with your own heart, and from that connection, you can love more purely. When you love from wholeness, you no longer beg for love. You become love. You radiate it naturally. You attract people who match your energy, not those who drain it. Loving without attachment also means trusting the natural flow of life. You don't chase what is meant for you. You don't beg what is leaving to stay. You understand that everything and everyone serves a purpose. Some people come to teach you patience. Some come to awaken your strength. Some come to show you how to love without losing yourself. When you learn the lesson, you let go with gratitude, not bitterness. This is the essence of mature love. To love with an open heart but steady mind. To care deeply but remain peaceful. To give everything but never lose yourself in the process. When you live this way, you realize that peace is the real power. And from that peace, your love becomes unshakable. Loving without attachment is not about having less emotion. It's about having deeper awareness. You no longer love from need. You love from consciousness. You no longer love to fill a void. You love to expand your soul. That is the meditation of love, to remain still inside, even when the heart beats wildly outside. So how do you truly love a man without attachment? By first returning home, to yourself. By realizing that love is not something you chase outside, but something you awaken within. When you are connected to yourself, you stop confusing attachment for connection. You stop confusing attention for affection. You begin to see love as a flow of energy, not a chain of dependence. Loving without attachment means you understand that love is meant to be shared, not possessed. It's not about controlling where it goes or how long it lasts. It's about being fully present while it's here. When you love consciously, you give without expectation. You serve without demanding. You care without suffocating. Because you know that what's real does not require force. Real love breathes. It moves in its own rhythm. It allows space for both souls to evolve. And if someone walks away, it doesn't destroy you, because your identity was never built around them. You see, when a woman knows herself deeply, she no longer loves from insecurity. She no longer needs a man to validate her worth. She no longer needs constant reassurance to feel safe. She becomes the reassurance. She becomes the calm energy that brings peace to the relationship. That is the essence of divine feminine strength. It is love rooted in self-awareness, a love that gives but never begs. To love a man without attachment, you must love him with freedom, not fear. If you want him to grow, you must give him room to breathe. If you want the love to deepen, you must allow space for individuality. Two complete souls walking side by side, not two broken halves trying to complete each other. That is real connection. That is real intimacy. Loving without attachment also means embracing impermanence. Understand that nothing in life is truly yours. Not people, not moments, not even emotions. They are all visitors on the path of your soul. Your task is not to hold them hostage, but to honor them while they're here. When you love with this awareness, you begin to see beauty even in endings. You stop chasing closure, because you understand that everything unfolds as it should. You realize that love is not measured by how long it lasts, but by how deeply it transforms you. Detached love transforms both souls. It purifies, it elevates, it frees. Detachment doesn't make your heart cold, it makes it wise. It teaches you to love with open hands, to give without clinging, to trust that what's meant for you will always align back with you in divine timing. When you practice this, you radiate peace instead of pressure, gratitude instead of fear, freedom instead of control. That peace becomes your power. That calmness becomes your beauty. And that inner stability becomes the most magnetic form of love, because nothing is more attractive than a woman who is full within herself. Love him, but do not lose yourself. Love deeply, but let go easily. Love with your whole heart, but keep your center within your own soul. When you reach this balance, you discover that the purpose of love was never to complete you, it was to awaken you, to remind you of your strength, to mirror your beauty, to help you return to the truth that you are already whole. That is how you love a man without attachment, with depth, with presence, with awareness, and with peace.